Okay, so the last video podcast episode got like 800 views. Okay, so I decided to do a second one about mental health, mental illness. So is mental is a mental illness really an illness? You know, is it an illness? Uh, I think. Society is an illness. Society, how is built, how is structured. Structure. They tell you since you are born you have to have structure in your life. Get in line, go to school, study, don't be lazy. So they're giving you directions and rules, and they put you this thing to follow the program. Okay, and some people agree with it, some people don't agree with it, and some other people don't agree with it but follow along because they have to pay the bills, live their life. Okay, as you see with the quarantine, a lot of women got killed. In Greece, a lot of women got killed because their husbands couldn't leave the house, so they decided to kill their wife. Because before the quarantine, the husband could go. The husband was leaving from the house, evacuating the premises, and going to the cafeteria with his buddies. But the quarantine said no, you have to stay inside. So you have to face your problems. Yeah. 1 hour ago I was at my mom's house, and she asked me what kind of TV should she get, and I said no money. And she said to me, no, I didn't ask you. I didn't ask if we have money. I asked you what kind of TV should I get. I did not hear what she asked. I thought she was asking me to get her a television. That's what I thought she was asking. Then she said she's feeling like she's getting a divorce. Yeah. Now here in my home, I have my own space. But a day with a woman, it's tough. I don't know. I can have a girlfriend. I think I'll never be married. I get frustrated when I talk to a woman. I don't want to sound like another Tate, but I think in general with people, I get frustrated with when I have a conversation. It isn't a gender thing. I think I want to have my own. Be miserable by myself. 10 minutes ago, I wrote some lyrics. I was calling my town fucking town, in that everyone that lives here wanna gossip. So I was hearing the song, and I'm like, do I really wanna release this? The voices and the walls were laughing at me. So I have tattoo of my town on my arm, my hand. Halkida, So why did you get a tattoo of a city that you don't like? My psychiatrist asked me one time that I went there, only one time, never went again. Why do you get tattoos? I said tattoos are reminders, and then they phase out through time because you forget about what you wanted to be reminded of. So when I was in the last year of high school or second year of high school, because we have 3 years of high school, one kid told me that he tried to end his life, and his parents put him on the same medicine that I am. And I said, "How did you try?" He said, "With a rope, you know." And we spent some time with other friends, and I think he had bigger problems than mine, you know. Um, yeah. I hope he's alive though. So the same psychiatrist asked me. He asked me, "Have you ever tried to end your life?" I said, "When I was psychotic in the hospital, I went in the clinic. I told him because they had me on so many medicines, like 10 pills or something, a lot of medicines, and I wanted to jump from somewhere. I was throwing myself at the wall, and he told me it wasn't about the pills. It was because you were manic. You were in a state of mind that no medicine could do anything to you. And I believe to this day, those people that they saw me in the clinic, they thought I was on drugs, because I met a girl and she told me that after she did coke, she sniffed coke, she went into psychosis, so they thought I was on drugs and did it. I wasn't on drugs. I never took drugs. And when I travel, every time I travel, I have my medication in my bag without a prescription, and I'm thinking, what if the customs police saw the medication? Am I supposed to explain to them my situation? Am I I don't wanna say bad names to the authority, because I lose subscribers every time I say bad names. Some people don't like it to call names. Some people don't like to call the government names, the authority names. But at the end of the day, it's all a joke. Your life is a joke. My life is a joke, and one day we're gonna die, and our kids or your kids just gonna live the life you're living, and no matter how much money you have, how much meditation you do, how much religious you are, you're gonna end up in the ground, and a lot of people kill themselves. They want to escape, and some other people don't understand why some other people kill themselves. I didn't understand why I wanted to end my life back in the hospital. But what I said to my mother years later was that I couldn't take it. Being alive was I needed a switch. I needed a switch to shut down. I needed to find a switch to shut down. If your friend puts loud the music and then you're studying, you wanna turn off the music or lower it down. That's how I felt in my mind. I wasn't making sense. Okay, now I'm gonna end myself because I'm unhappy. It wasn't because people that wanna explain. Like, if you hear that your buddy committed suicide, you're gonna try to fit the pieces. Why he did that? We were together yesterday. He was smiling. I didn't see the signs, But in the mind of the person that commits suicide, isn't thinking that I'm unhappy, I'm depressed. They don't think that. They think that it's time to leave, It's time to leave. that's how I felt in the hospital, because the the way I went to the hospital was the night before. It was weeks. I wasn't sleeping for weeks. I don't know. I lost track of time, and my aunt was my dad's sister was in our home, my family home, and my mother and my brother were in America, so I had only my dad's family. So my dad was away for work, so the next morning he came home. I didn't sleep at all. My aunt was in the night at home, and she couldn't help me, and I was in that manic state, and I called the police, and I said she wants to harm me. So the next day the police came, and they saw me on a terrible state, and they just put handcuffs on me, and they put me in the police vehicle, and in order to take an adult to the hospital in Greece, you have to put a lawyer to agree that it has to be done or something. I don't know the details. So I went to the hospital, and I don't remember a lot from the earlier days. I just remember that I woke up, the feeling was waking up like Uma Thurman in Kill Bill. She wakes up. I don't know exactly the script, but she wakes up and is in a terrible state in the hospital. Or the 12 Monkeys, with Brad Pitt and George Clooney, I think he plays, where they go to the hospital. Brad Pitt is a patient in the hospital, and the clinic, the mental institute. I wasn't in that role that, I wasn't in that role, no. It was more like, how did I get here? How I remember who I was. I was in a different plane. PLANE plane. I was in a different. When you are manic, you are in a different reality. You are in your own world. You think that you can be wherever in the timeline you wanna be. You can think you are in 1920s, and you dancing the dance they were dancing then. You're thinking that a rapper is outside the hospital, and he sabotages you. Someone sabotages you. Someone put you there. Someone. And the government, and someone it's a big how do they call that when people think about stuff, and like if Tupac is alive or not. What do you call that? I always forget that word. In Greek is wait, I Google it. Translate it in English. So I cannot find it. Conspiracy theory. Okay. So yeah, the whole thing with being in a psychotic state is that your mind is being having conspiracy theories. Like, you can be thinking that the kids they're shouting downstairs in my neighborhood, it's about you. You can be thinking that they're hearing your conversation that you're doing now, but you're 3 floors up, in the building. I remember one time I asked my aunt, she was here when I was talking to her, and I told her, "Can people hear me outside when I'm talking to you?" And every day I constantly trying to say to myself, don't have symptoms. You're taking 2.5 milligram of your medication. You're doing okay. Back in 2014, I was taking 20. And if I take a higher dosage, I cannot do anything. When I say I cannot do anything, I cannot get dressed properly. I feel like a plant. And some doctors can say, no, that's in your mind. That's how. Or I cannot do simple stuff like wash the dishes, clean the house, do proper adult stuff. I don't cook. I eat outside. Even cooking to me is very difficult. I have a very small house. Even if I have a big house, cooking is it's a whole anxiety challenge. I was talking with a person. I told him, you do meditation, you believe in this spiritual stuff like me. Why are you smoking cigarettes? That's the depressants. And he told me working 12 hours a day is a depressant. And I said, yeah. So he was trying to excuse himself why he's smoking. I used to smoke about cigarettes. I used to smoke cigarettes about stupid stuff. Like today, if I was a smoker, I will smoke about stupid ideas in my head. But the thing with smoking cigarettes or drinking alcohol or anything that is a depressant, you think that it's helping you, but it's not. You think it's a band-aid, but it's temporary. The same thing with the medication that I'm taking. The medication, if I stop taking it right now, I'm gonna have withdrawals. Even if I stop taking it, and when I say stop taking it, I mean by dropping it little by little, like 0.5 milligram. And because the last pill of the medication is 2.5, I don't know exactly how they do it, but I think they take liquid and you take drops, or you cut the pill. Yeah. I'm not doing it by myself. My mother is helping me. When I went to the psychiatrist, the psychiatrist was really bothered because my mom is helping me with the medication, and the psychiatrist wanted me to take 10 milligram when I was taking 5 2 months ago. He said I have symptoms and I have to take 10 milligram, and I told him everything is blurry. Everything I have to take less because I cannot function. I posted a picture on Twitter. I wasn't able to put a trash bag in the trash can. It was really hard for me to open the bag from the material that it was wrapped, to open the plastic bag, the big one, and put it in the trash can. It was really hard for me to do this task. But now I can, because I take less. And for the people that don't take medication, these details during your day, you cannot understand it. The same thing that I was talking earlier, that for the people that end their life, what's happening is, the moment if I jump from the balcony, because it's a reflex of the human mind, the mind will say, oh shit, why did I do this? If I put a knife in my veins, it's gonna hurt, and then I'm gonna think, oh, why did I do this? Because it's the human reflex. The human nature is to protect yourself. So when you do something that you haven't done before, and then you see the result, it's too late. You see in every movie when they hang themselves in the wall, they try to grab the neck, grab the throat, because they're thinking, oh man, I regret it. In many movies, the actor or the actress finds a way to not hang themselves because they regret it. And even the people that like pain, when your life is being taken away, it's a different story. Because I remember I was hearing the screams of the Ukrainian women when the bomb in Kiev landed, and the screams in that clip never sounded a scream in a movie like that, you know. That I got to run from a life scream. And that's why the person that wants to end their life, but if they knew how it feels like till the ending life thing happens, maybe they wouldn't do it. Because even if I was in a manic state and I was jumped from the balcony, the fucked up thing is that what if you live? You know, what if you break your legs and live? That's a fucked up. Like I've read stories that people that jump in train tracks and they lived and they fucked up the body. Or they told me that they shoot their head, and not the people that shoot their head. They haven't told me this, but other people have told me that there's people that shoot their head with a shotgun and they lived, and then they didn't do it a second time because you already fucked up. And the most fucked up thing is that people miss you. You know, even people that hate you miss you because they're missing hating you when you're alive. That's a nice quote there. They want to hate you again. That's the word missing. Something that isn't there anymore. And I think people hate other people because the haters want to forget their own problems, so they want to find new ways to vent, new ways to vent their sickness, because that's what I was talking earlier. During quarantine, the men didn't like their women for their reasons, and then after a while they killed them because they couldn't go outside the house. And I'm a difficult person. I don't even know the lady that my dad is paying rent. I don't even know her name. I haven't ever talked to her, and I want to pay my own rent, but I don't talk to my dad. So you can check the problem and see that the problem is easy and solved. Just call your dad and tell him as a man, tell your dad, I want to pay my rent. Tell me the name of and the phone number of the lady that has your apartment, and tell the lady, I want to pay the rent, not my dad. But the thought of doing that, I don't like it. 2 months ago, I think, maybe a month ago, my brother told me the name of the lady that the bills is gonna be of the house. Isn't my name? It's her name, and I don't remember the name. And that day, my dad called me, and then I blocked him. My brother told me my dad was calling me because he wanted to tell me that the bill is gonna be in her name, and every living hour of the day and before I go to sleep, even if in my dreams, and when I wake up, I'm so jealous of my brother that he left and he's living alone in another city, and my dad isn't paying his rent and he pays his bills, and I don't have to have this interaction with my father and his family. Even with my mother, I go out with her to eat something, and then it's chaos. My family is chaos. Even me, I'm chaos. We're all fucked up. Even the planet Earth is fucked up. Everyone around you is fucked up. Even the people that meditate are fucked up. So how many times gonna say that? Yeah. And the rents are high now. So we found this house in 2015, and the rent was 200. Then the uncle of this lady died, and then the lady decided to do the rent 220, okay, euro. And then I look at other houses, the rent is higher, and the prices for the houses on this caliber are terrible houses. So the solution is to make more money and just leave everyone and never come back, and don't tell anyone where I'm going. Find a storage and put all my shit there that I cannot fly with, and just leave. Yeah. And then find new problems. That's how it goes. That's how life is. Life is a problem, because without a problem you cannot do math. So the medicine tells you, science tells you, take this medication, you're gonna feel happier. You're gonna feel. You're not gonna feel like killing yourself. You're not gonna feel like you're gonna feel, because my cousin was here in my house when we were making music, and then he asked me, "Are you gonna take your medication or what?" He got a little bit nervous, and he said he has friends that take medication and then they feel tired, and I told him I take my medication before I go to sleep. In that moment, to be honest with you, I felt bad that I told him that I'm taking medication. Yeah, I felt bad because it wasn't in the conversation. We were just leaving the house, and he out of the blue he asked me, "Have you taken your pills?" And then, I don't know, 12 years later, 12 years earlier, the wife of my dad told me, "Go take your pills and calm down," or something. She told me, or "Go take your pills." We had an argument. She told me, "Go take your pills." And then my ex, she told me, "Go take your pills and go to a mental institute." The first girlfriend. The second one is not the second one. The third one. The third one was like, okay, I'm gonna call her, because I did not call the second one. The second one was left with questions. Why is he not speaking to me? So I said I'm gonna do the right thing and call the third one. So I called the third one. Damn, the whole call was so fucked up, because I was trying to tell her I don't wanna be with you anymore. It was so fucked up. I feel like the thing that's in the river in the Amazon that goes inside your skin and sucks your blood. That's how I felt she did in that conversation. That's how I felt. And then years later, or 2 years later, I tried to tell her to come back together, but the reality is I was just horny, and she told me to when we broke up, she went to a psychologist. She went to a psychologist, so she can get over it. Yeah. But now she's happy, and she's been with a boyfriend for, I don't know, 7 years now, 8 years. I don't know. Yeah. But this energy draining thing, like, if you have your mind, then you are with another mind that has their own ecosystem, and the body and the mind, that you both are trying to communicate and say, okay, this is a cell phone. We both agree this is a cell phone. Is it a cell phone? Is it not? Do you agree? And then you have to do this with everything you're talking about. You have to agree with everything, or disagree, and then find a middle solution about something. Because if you disagree on everything, then it becomes very I don't want to say toxic, because it's a TikTok word. Toxic, red flag is a TikTok word. Word. WORD word. And it becomes uneven for you, because you become unhappy. And I've been in 3 psychoses. The first one was when I was 14. I thought that my classmates were trying to harm me in a psychological way. I was just, I don't know, hearing stuff, and I thought anywhere I go, people were commenting me, and still to this day it happens. I listen to Voices in the Walls, all day. There's been Voices in the Walls. That movie with Harley Quinn and the Joker, and the recent movie that came out. And Harley Quinn says, Margot Robbie says, the voices in my head, there's nothing special. There's voices in my head, nothing special. She says it with a way that, okay, I'm fucked up, so what can I do about it? The voices in my head. And to try to explain about the voice thing to a doctor or to a friend or to the internet is, you can be alone in a room and still hear a voice, and then you don't understand when is real, when something is real, and when not something is real. You don't understand. So the real question that I asked in the start of this podcast episode was, is mental illness is a mental illness really an illness? How do you define a mental illness? Because mentally, the opposite of mentally is body. Body and mind. They make a difference in those things, because the mind is in the body. But they say body and mind. So when your body is sick, you need to heal the body. When your mind is sick, you need to heal the mind. But how are you gonna heal the body, and how are you gonna heal the mind? So if I tell you I have the flu, you're gonna tell me, do you have your shots for the flu? And then this conversation starts from there. Do you need some medication for the flu? And then if I tell you I have schizoaffective disorder, you're gonna ask me, are you on any medication? I'm gonna tell you, yeah, Zyprexa, olanzapine. And how much are you taking? 2.5, okay? And how are you feeling? So if you are a psychiatrist, you have your methods to decompress how the other person is talking and feeling, and you say you have symptoms, so go take more. So you're saying to the patient to take more meds because you're scared that the patient is going to have a psychosis. Okay, so you want to prevent the whole word as a prevention. So you want to find a solution so we won't be in deeper sit. So you tell the patient, okay, take 10 milligram. The patient listens to you, takes 10 milligram, but the patient cannot even get off bed. The patient wakes up at 6 p.m. cannot get off bed. The patient was sleeping for 20 hours, and then you go on the next session to the doctor. You tell the doctor I was sleeping for 20 hours. That wasn't me. I'm just making up a story for the people that live this kind of life. Because I used to live this kind of life. I used to go to the doctor. I was taking 20 milligram. The doctor was saying, okay, we're going to try and go to 15 milligram. 15. And then my aunt, which is a doctor, and my dad's family was trying to say, even the doctors in this day, even the psychiatrist that I went to, he was saying, take the medication that it's, the shot, and the syringe. So that kind of medication lasts for a month. And the psychiatrist told me now that it's good for you because has a better process in the blood with the syringe. So the doctor is talking about what the books say, but it's the same thing with the recent years. I want to touch on that subject, make it tangible, without the system blocking me. If you have Bob and Johnny, okay, and Bob harms Johnny, but Johnny cannot tell the internet that Bob harmed Johnny, where can Johnny say that? That's what I wanted to say about what happened in the recent years, and yeah. So everyone told me, I hope the best for you and love. And someone said that they'd be fighting with their mental illness. And all I can say is, don't let others put you in a box that you're mentally ill. Okay, you're not mentally ill. You're just a questionable entity to others that they don't think like you. So, in order to be relatable to others and sustain a nice life, you gotta be like a person that writes about architecture. The person that writes about architecture is not gonna put the building in the sky because nobody can start from the air. They start from the ground. So the architecture is gonna start from the ground for the building. Every architecture does that. But the poet can start from the sky. Say a poem about a building that starts from the sky. You are a poet. Okay, I'm a poet. But the architects say, no, you have a mental illness. That's not poetry. You have to start from the ground, from the architecture. So the architects are telling the poets that they have a mental illness. So that's how when I explain that you don't have a mental illness, you just vibe on a different profession than the architects, okay? Because I get mad when I see people, there's channels on YouTube that just talk about mental health, mental health, the health of the mind. They just talk about, okay, I'm on that medication and this happened and this happened. And are you happy though? Are you happy? Yeah. Like the other day, I did a freestyle in Greek, and I lost a subscriber because they probably said, what the fuck is he talking about? What language is this? I don't think I can freestyle in English. I don't think I can freestyle because look at my accent. And my accent is cool, but I cannot. We were at a table and we were playing a drinking game with my friends back in Ohio when I was living there. And my Greek friends, that they're sounding like me because they were rhyming words in English because the drinking game was saying to rhyme words in English. So when American said, you just rhyming that word, he said to my friend, because you're Greek and your accent allows you to rhyme like that. And then one other friend told me it's bad to learn the English language from rap songs because rappers bend words, they bend words for the words to rhyme. And it's true, but I think most rappers, that the year was 2015, so most rappers now they just sing, they sing. So yeah. You can disagree with me and call it mental illness just to make your life more simple, but it's complicated because not everything has a solution and explanation. Okay. So if you hear in the news that a mass shooting happened and 10 people dead, and you keep hearing those kind of news, mass shooting, but then you have the American government talk about TikTok ban and transgender rights, women's rights, and other stuff about rights, but they don't talk about gun control. They don't talk about that. Because stores like Caberas and GTA stores will lose money, and the whole corporations, they're gonna lose money. So because if they have the power to shut down TikTok in America on every cell phone, they have the power to put laws and to people to not have guns. So yeah, and people say they have guns to protect themselves. Okay, I was watching on Hulu, but I stopped watching it because I got really sad. The killing of Breonna Taylor. I was watching at Hulu, the documentary, and I watched till the part that her boyfriend at the time said they heard someone picking the lock of their house, and they got scared, so he picked up his license gun and he started shooting. But the person was a cop. I thought that the cops have to identify themselves, that they are the police when they go inside the premises. But the report was saying that they thought it was a trap house. They thought it was a trap house that were cooking drugs. So I don't think that police was the DEA, though. The police that they're after drugs. They look like sheriffs or something. I don't know. And the neighborhood was a quiet neighborhood, like the neighborhood that I used to live in Ohio, when not a lot of said what was happening. And I'm sure if I finished watching that documentary, a lot of questions will have been answered about what happened that night, and to that poor woman. And I was watching the documentary about XXS Tension, and it was a clip in the end of the documentary that someone passed in front of the car and the side of when he was laying there and filmed him. I've been in a situation where a person was dead and did not film them. It was I think we went to Cuyahoga Falls in Ohio, I think near Akron somewhere. We went for a hike, my mom and her sister, my aunt, and then a train stopped, and some people said a woman just went in front of the train, and it was the kind of train that it wasn't a metro, it was the kind of train that goes through the city. Above that it was the kind of tracks that you can step on the tracks. It wasn't you don't get electrocuted when you step on the tracks. So she just stayed there and wait for the train to step on her. And some people, when I tell them the story, they say, what if someone pushed her? The thing is, with this kind of trains, have you ever seen Looky Look, Likey Look? It's the kind of trains from the cowboy times where they go from distance and they do choo choo foo foo, and you hear the train. So you have time for someone to push you. You need to be standing exactly in the train that is passing, or someone has to hold you. But the report was saying that some people told her the train is coming, and she said, I know, and she just stood there. And I remember I was hearing the train was honking, toot 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 toot. I was away though. I was like half a mile away. I did not see anything, maybe a mile away, but the train was long and the distance, and so the train stayed there from let's say 3 p.m. till 1 a.m. and left. And probably the driver was charged, with something, because the woman was dead. I saw his seat and the body was there, and I did not decide to film anything. My friends at the time said, why you didn't film anything? I said, no, out of respect, I did not film anything. And imagine being in front of XXXTentacion and filming him. I mean, I don't want to blame the people with a cell phone, but you don't do that, man. Filming fights instead of breaking the fight, no. I was reading a comment, and I don't know the person gender, but the person said that their mom, when their mom is in a psychosis, the mom thinks that Jim Morrison is sending her letters or something, but Jim Morrison is dead. I don't know. Her mind thinks that Jim Morrison is sending her letters, so she's writing him letters. And a lot of stuff, if you Google schizoaffective, I was like Googling it, and a lot of stuff, I said, yeah, I feel this way. And a lot of people, the thing that we're discussing in this episode is, when you read about it online, you say, yeah, I feel like that. Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like I'm hearing stuff that they're not there, or that you're reading people's minds, and or like imaginary conversations with people like you knew, but you don't remember exactly how the conversations were, or sometimes you cannot tell if it was a dream or if you were awake. or you can remember something 10 years ago, and then you still say to people what your ex said to you, and the most challenging thing, to me is that let's say and I have to leave the country. Okay, I have to go somewhere else. In America, you don't get the same medication as you get in Greece. And let's talk about this thing now. In America, everything is generic. The medication is generic. I was thinking generic olanzapine for a while in 2016. Yeah, and I got really fat. I don't know how many pounds, but I got really fat. And the point where I was just eating Snickers, and I have this appetite for sweets. I was eating a lot of chocolate, and then people that saw me here thought, oh, okay, he is enjoying food, that's why he's fat. And they were making fun of me. People that knew me, they're making fun of me. But is it how you imagine it? So if you see someone dressed like a woman in the street, and you see that person doesn't look like a woman, because in the woman thing in your head, there's a woman that, like, a person that has boobs. So let's say a man doesn't have boobs. Okay, a man has the Adam's apple. So you see a person that has a dress. It's your job to comment on that. So if I take a lot of pounds, or if I lose a lot of pounds, it's your job to comment on that. So I used to be the person that was saying to people, "Oh, you got some pounds, or you lost some pounds," just to start a conversation. But the same thing they did to me, and it bothered me. Other people. I was telling my friend that it isn't our job to comment on other people, because 1 year the Pride was happening in June, and we saw a person wasn't happening in this town, because the Pride is happening in Athens, but we saw a person with a friend at the time. The person was wearing a thong, okay, and it was a big boy. It was a big boy with a thong, walking in the street, okay, with a thong. And we did not laugh, we did not comment. And the big boy was looking at us, because maybe he thought, or she thought that, or they thought that, we're gonna comment on that appearance. But props to the person that was wearing a thong, because they were expressing themselves. Okay, I'm gonna wear a thong and go outside, because then that takes a lot of self so I got blocked on Facebook, because the thread was a transgender person wrote on Facebook something, because the doctor was asking the person about what genitals they were born with. So the person did not wanted to say, and I commented on the person and said, you should have told the doctor, it isn't what genitals I was born with, it's how I feel. So the person blocked me. Yeah, and I think some people categorize you as the mansplainer, but when at the time when you're writing this, you're just on their side, but the I'll tell you something personal, okay? So in the elections, my uncle was telling me, "Come back to America. We're gonna vote for Trump. We're gonna vote for Trump." Okay. So I said, "You never text me, and you text me now about voting Trump, and you said quit acting like a fag." He called me a fag, and so I said, "Okay." I did not say anything else. So years later, he got sick, and now he's better. He got sick, and I told him, I have you in my thoughts. I told him last year, and now he's better. And the point of this story is that I could have said the worst things when he called me that word. I could have said the worst things, but I did not say anything. Because if I had said the worst things to him and he died, that then you feel fucked up again. Because you feel fucked up when they call you something you're not. Even if you are, it's not right to call something anything to someone, because the only judgment is yourself, not other people. You judge yourself all day. And people that vote for Trump, that's a whole statement there. People that vote for Trump. I was reading up on news, and I think the other day, Trump was somewhere, and he was giving props to a woman that she wanted Mike Pence dead for treason because of the vote. So there's people in America that believe that the votes were they didn't count the votes right. So they believe that. But that's how Trump got elected, because they targeted Hillary Clinton and on the ads and stuff, and said horrible thing on your timeline and your algorithm about Hillary Clinton. So yeah, I think the right phrase for this whole thing is that you're getting played. You're getting played on either party, because now there's elections in Greece. So if someone asks me, "Are you gonna vote?" I'm gonna say, why I'm gonna vote? Because whatever you vote is gonna be the same thing. Nothing's gonna change. It's gonna be the same thing. So even if Hillary Clinton was elected in 2016, so will mass shootings stop? No. We went somewhere in Cleveland with my friend back in those times, and before COVID, and he told me anyone can get a gun. He got a sniper, and he told me anyone can get a sniper. Anyone can walk up in here and buy one with no background check, nothing. Anyone. Yeah. And I was chatting on a video game, Final Fantasy 14, and the person was saying that the other night someone broke into the house, and I don't remember exactly the story, but the conversation was about guns, and other people were saying, "Yeah, we need guns to protect ourselves." But why don't mass shootings happen in Greece? You don't hear every day mass shootings. Mass shootings don't happen here. You can go to an event, you can go outside, and mass shootings don't happen. And people still walk around. So, do you have to protect yourself from what? From other gun. Okay, so how people are protecting themselves when they don't have guns? Because in Greece, how are they protecting themselves? Themselves. It's the same thing with the person, I think, that does a mass shooting, with the person that ending their life. They're not making sense. The thing, yeah, because when I was making the parable with the architect and the poet, I think the mass shooter guy, or the person that does a riot in the capital, or the person that doesn't believe in a thing that you do in your arm when the CDC says you have to do it. Because you either gonna agree with something, or you're not gonna agree with something, or you're not gonna agree with something but you're gonna follow along, because I don't think it's so simple about being the architect and the poet. Because a poet can have a job like an architect, but he can think like a poet. They can think like a poet, but their job is an architect. So you can ask an architect, if you could do anything in your life, what would have been? And the architect can tell you, I want to be a poet. But life happened. I have kids. I have to pay my bills. Poetry doesn't pay the bills. I cannot sell my poetry as an NFT. I don't know how. So architecture pays the bills. And even the guy that wrote the movie with the, that old movie, The Wing, Right Wing or something. Tom Cruise plays. He's in the courthouse, and then he wrote the social network movie, the Facebook movie. He also wrote other movies too. It's the type of movies that they have a lot of talking and less action. A lot of talking. So I was watching his master class. His name is Aaron Sorkin. Okay, he was watching his master class. He said before he wrote that script that Tom Cruise plays, it's a famous movie, or I think it's the movie that also another movie that Al Pacino is a lawyer. I think it's called The Devil something. I think he wrote that script. Yeah. He also wrote that script. Is a woman that plays poker, and in the beginning she's skiing in the mountains and she had an accident. Molly's Game, yeah, it's called Molly's Game. So she's playing poker and stuff. He wrote that script. So he was saying, in order to pay the bills before he was making money from being a writer, he was working in a bar, okay? But he decided that he wants to do writing, but he needed to keep the lights on, he said in the master class. So he was doing some other thing. My old friend Chris, Netflix was helping him they hired him because they saw his Behance page, and because they said it was professional, and it is professional. And he got a job from that. He got a job on Netflix. So the same thing happened with me. A lot of people were using my beat. I don't know how much money he was making. I never asked him, but a lot of people were using my beat, and I was able, and I am able to pay my bills because of my music. And I have bad days. I have good days. I have middle days. When I say middle days, I'm half and half, and yeah. Back when he was making money, I was envy of him. The same thing that I'm envy of my brother, and I'm jealous. Like I succeeded to live a life where I can make my own money without asking my father for money. Like this month from SoundCloud, I got $700. Okay, and they used to laugh and joke about me making music, and probably still do, but now it's a job. There's rappers like Lil Man J, if you YouTube him, Lil Man J. He probably got picked up in school, from the way he looks. But he's having 600,000 listeners on Spotify and millions of views on YouTube, and people listen to his music. And he sounds like Lil Baby. He's white, Lil Minzy. And I think his success is because he manifested it. Even Drake says that in one of his interviews. He manifested it, and I believe that I can make money with my music, and it happened. And some people ask me, what do you do? I say, I make music, okay? And how is that going? They say. And I said, okay, the raps don't pay, but the beat pays, yeah. But I'm trying with the rap, and I think the thing with the rap is that less people in the world speak Greek. So if I try in English, more people speak English in the world, and there's people that even in the UK have a different accent than the American people that speak English and still have a career. Look at Cedral C. He speaks with a heavy British accent and still is successful. Look at Skepta and Asa Brocky in a song that's a classic. So, because I don't know what time is. Yeah, it's 10:30 at night. That was a chair. I don't know if you heard it. I'm gonna end this, okay? And thank you for the kind comments and the views, and I know I have to, and I now want to talk more about mental health, and because the end of this story that I'm saying is that I don't believe that it's something wrong with you, okay? Because nobody told me that. My mother told me that. That's why I'm telling you, because maybe you didn't have a mother to tell you that nothing wrong with you. Okay? Nothing is wrong with you, nothing is wrong with me. And the best thing to cope with your hashtag problems is create something. And if you don't have the equipment I have, just download an app on your phone and just or write a story on the Notes app, or download an app that's about drawing on your phone. Write something on your Notes app. Try to write stuff to make your writing better, even if it's not a job. But write something. Have a diary. And name it my diarrhea. And say personal stuff that you don't talk with someone, because in the end of this session, I feel like I talked to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I feel like I talked to someone, and I did not pay $60 for this session. It was the internet.